make a rosé from that. This is a single vineyard rosé. To make a
Yeah.
rosé from that vineyard,
I can't
and name
change
the
sound. I
rosé
can't get that
after the
together.
name
I
of my
can't change
daughter.
the sound.
Beautiful. So we are we just started the introduction, and Chef Emma showed them the plate of the first dish. There is one thing that I show everybody, and I want to make sure you know, I show them the map of Puglia, and I show them exactly where we are located for this. Let me see. Okay, so actually, hold on. Hold on a second. Let me share here. Okay. Let's see if you can see the map. I want to make sure everybody see them. Hold on. Hold on, it's a technical problem here. Okay. Can you see?
This is so stupid.
No.
I can't switch the sound on this phone to
Okay.
microphone.
Okay. Do you see the map?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I was telling everybody. So this is the Gravina, right? This is the map of the Puglia, actually. Sorry, the Puglia right here. This is Gravina, the red part, right here, Gravina. And I show everybody that Gravina is inland of Puglia, so completely different from the other city, Bari, Taranto, that people are familiar with the wine, the Puglia area. So that's very important for the tapes. And also I show people about some pictures. So while we are tasting the rosé, if you can tell people about Gravina and the village, something very recent, very important about your town, Gravina. I think they became on the special, right?
Yes. Yes. A few words about the winery. The winery is managed by my family, by me and my brother Alberto, since 1991, 29 years now. But the viticulture in our area have a very, very long and ancient story. You think that the first traces of developed viticulture in the area is dated more than 8th century before Christ. We are talking about 3,000 years of winemaking in the area.
Oh.
And the reason why that we have this old tradition is mainly connected with the particular microclimate of the area. As you see on the map, we are in the inland. We are 70 miles far from the Adriatic Sea, 70 miles far from the Southern Sea, from the Ionian Sea. In altitude, the average altitude of the vineyard in the area is about 1,400 feet on sea level. And this is so unusual for Puglia and south of Italy, because I can imagine then when you think about Puglia, you are thinking about sea, sand, very hot. And you are right, but on the border with Basilicata, where we are, the situation changed dramatically and is a land absolutely vocated for uh, fine, elegant wines cultivated in altitude. And this is the reason why you find in wine like Rosé de Loulou that acidity, that freshness, that minerality. The reason is connected with the special microclimate and the soil. We have mainly limestone in that area. The fertile part of the soil is very small, and the roots of the vineyards go directly into this limestone that gives to the vineyards very low natural yields per hectare and this fantastic characteristic of minerality and elegance to the wines.
Can you tell about the village of Gravina that is beautiful, as we can see on the picture here? It was so beautiful recently. I believe some movie stars, some movie where
Yeah, yeah. And Gravina also is a town with a very old history. You think that during the Roman Empire, there was a city called Silvium. Silvium in Latin means forest, because there is a big forest just beside the town of Gravina. You think that during the Roman Empire, when Rome, the capital of the empire, has an estimated people, habitants of 30,000, Silvium Gravina was 8,000. Is very, very huge city for the time. And recently, this town will be rediscovered by first, uh, about 10 years ago, Mel Gibson played the movie Passion of Christ there in Matera and Gravina. And this summer, last summer, they played the 25th James Bond movie, especially on an old bridge, was a Roman bridge, built for the first time more than 2,000 years ago, destroyed by an earthquake around 1,000 and rebuilt at 1,000 years ago. A very, very particular, moment of the movie with James Bond that falls down from the bridge into the ravine. That this is a detail that I have forgot to mention. Gravina is the name of the city. It comes from a ravine because it's absolutely located on a gorge that in Italian usually is called a ravine.
That's great. So, guys, as you can see, the beautiful thing about those wines, sometimes that we choose wine, me and Emma, with recipe or with the food that they are not as popular as other places, but there is so much history. And Puglia, that now it's famous and it's popular in the United States for many touristic areas and wines. But yet, Gravina is a area where it's not as known, or you don't see too much representation of wine from the area in the United States. If you remember, most of you, we did a wine dinner, I think it was 2 wine dinners ago, with the white wine, the Botromagno Gravina,
With the
remember?
Gravina.
I know that many of you, Stuart, I know many of you that purchased the Gravina, you love the wine. That's, of course, was another wine of Beniamino and his family. That's the very unique wine that they're bringing to the United States, the only Gravina in the United States. This rosé is amazing. Beniamino, tell us a little bit about the Nero di Troia grape, because tonight we're gonna taste the Nero di Troia in the rosé style,
Yeah,
and also in the red style.
in the red style. Yes, Nero di Troia or Uva di Troia, literally translated means black from Troy. Black because of the color of the bunch that is very, very dark blue, and Troy because Troy is a small town located not so far from Gravina, is I think is 50, 60 miles uh, north to Gravina. And this city have the same name of the mythical city of Troy, in Greece, in Hellesponto. And the legend says that this grape was carried in Puglia from the refugees from the mythical city of Troy, planted in that part of Puglia that is completely different than Gravina, is very flat, is called Tavoliere delle Puglie, is the part of Puglia from where all the best durum wheat came to make pasta and bread, but is not fitted for grapes because of the richness of water, the yields per hectare are very, very naturally high. And for decades, for centuries, this grape, Nero di Troia, was used only to blend with other grapes because of its lively natural tannins. Only recently, not more than 25 years, few wineries located in the central part of Puglia, in altitude, had an intuition about the potential of this grape because of the tannins, planted in altitude, reduced drastically the yields per hectare, and the result is a wine with absolutely unique and distinctive personality. if you try to make a comparison, every one of us, when try an unknown, an obscure grape, immediately try to make a comparison between something that we know and something we are tasting. Try with this. It's really, really difficult to make a comparison because it's a grape that is very unique.
1 second. So everyone now you can unmute. What do you think about the pairing? The Emma dish and the Rosato comments, anything you want to say? Because I want to make sure that the Italians are not monopolizing the conversation. That's usually happens.
Our bottle is empty.
Is the greatest sign.
Marcello, more.
No problem. Absolutely.
Oh, there's a tricky bottle. There's an old somewhere there.
Yes, Stuart?
That wine worked very well with the sauce, with the seafood.
Yes.
Yes. I have to tell you guys.
Yeah.
I know.
You guys hit it out of the park again.
I know Emma now for many years. And, she always put a great dish out there. And I saw the menu because she sends me the menu every time. When she said the crema di taralli, I smiled and I was so happy because I love taralli. If I go in my kitchen now, I have the taralli from Puglia because I snack on those all the time. I love it. And the fact that she was able to incorporate something so typical from Puglia in a very, unique and different way, it's amazing. With the seafood, it was really happy, and I think it was perfect with this match with this rosé. So I'm glad that you enjoyed the pairing.
Very good.
Marcello, did Emma talk about what was in the sauce?
No, I'm getting ready to start right now.
Please, Emma.
It's difficult enough with one more Italian. Now that there's 3 of us, we're going to be hours.
Yeah.
Marcello, posso andare?
Certo.
Ok, innanzitutto, very quickly, buonasera Beniamino, grazie per
Ciao
essere
Emma.
molto piacere. Thank
Piacere
you
mio.
for us late at night. We appreciate it very much. And guys, thank you again, all of you, for participating at another of our wine dinners. Of course, with Botro Romagno and Beniamino, I decided to go to my menu was strictly Pugliese. Of course, with some things that may be a little bit different or a little bit innovative, exactly like the crema di taralli, which I am very sorry. I noticed that I misspelled it on the menu. I was trying to do 10 things at the same time. I put tartalli, I think, instead of taralli.
Look at this.
And one of the reasons that I got everybody a little baggie like this of taralli, so that you know what we're talking about, okay? And of course, I get it from our Italian, one of the Italian importers that I use for my produce, so that you know where this is coming from. Of course, I wanted to, especially with this beautiful rosé, I wanted to introduce some seafood. If I was in Puglia, I would have some beautiful, beautiful gamberoni rosa pugliesi, which is a pink shrimp that we can find specifically in the area of Puglia. But I did, in our version here, we do have some beautiful, beautiful Gulf pink shrimp. So I associated those for you guys to have the closest of the flavors that you could have from Puglia. So we have here nice smaller octopus. So all this seafood, the mussels, the octopus, the calamari, they were all braised together just with a little garlic, a little white wine. And then the sauce that came from him, I actually had the peel of the shrimp still on, in order to create the stock, the broth from it. So the sauce that all that seafood gave me then went into the taralli, and they soaked for about 35 minutes. After they were soaking, I blended the taralli with just a little more garlic, a little bit of salt, a little teeny bit of rosemary, but not a lot because the taralli itself already had some. So a little bit of extra rosemary, a little thyme. Pardon? somebody, sorry, I thought somebody had a question. So basically all the taralli were soaking there, and then as we blend them, we have that beautiful, creamy, velvety texture that was the bottom of your dish. Okay, and this is why I didn't want you to heat it up too much, because I think the warmer temperature to chill is actually the best, so you can actually taste and savor the beautiful velvety consistency of that cream. And when you actually add the seafood on top and you add a little bit of broth that I capped on your seafood, it actually does not emulsify but stays separate, because you do want to see, one is the crema di taralli, the other one is your broth, okay, which makes it a difference. Anyways, I thought this was a great way to introduce taralli without, usually they're even served, especially in seafood restaurants, they're even served just like in a bowl, like as part of your bread. But I thought this was a little bit extra, that we can actually work in different things with breads, for example, in this case, cream. And as Beniamino was talking about, taralli are also made with durum wheat flour, which is also the same ingredient to make the orecchiette that I have accepted. So the durum flour products are very, very traditional from the area of Puglia. And so I capped it in that way in order to for you to have the best flavors matching your wine from.
Perfect. So before we're gonna start talking about the next one,
Marcello, un attimo. So I know Marcello's probably soon gonna be talking about the next wine as well. For your next dish, I already said this a couple times. So I kept the sauce of your orecchiette pugliesi. I kept them a little frothy in order for you to put it in the saucepan and add the orecchiette directly there, so they can finish in there. They only need a minute or two, guys. But when everything is hot, the orecchiette, then I didn't want to cook them all the way through, because I was afraid that we're gonna get too soft and not al dente. And also they kind of need the juice, that broth that it's in that sauce, to give it more flavor into the orecchiette. So I think it's going to be perfect once you heat up everything together. If you are doing it in a microwave, have a bowl big enough that will fit it. If you can do it in a saucepan, I would rather that. But if you're doing it in a microwave, just put everything together, because you really want the two things to amalgamate together. Okay. Ciao, Marcello, fatto.
Okay, so now what we're gonna, the next wine, and I will have Beniamino explain, but the next one is this beautiful bottle here, the Nero di Troia. So just everybody show the bottle, look at that, perfect. I want to make sure that Beniamino knows that we drink his wine, not like Pinot Grigio. Okay, good. So so now Beniamino, explain us about this Nero di Troia. The vinification, the difference with the rosé, and a little bit about the soil. Also mention about your approach to the farming, the way that you do farming. It's very important, please.
Absolutely. Nero di Troia, for me, if all the winemaker in central part of Puglia have faith about it, maybe will be the, I can call it the next big thing from Puglia. Because for me, starting this way, for a winemaker, all the wines are like sons and daughters. All the wines that we make are important for us. But I have to confess that Nero di Troia is the red wine that I usually drink at home, because it's, for me, the most versatile red wine that we have. You can drink it, obviously, with meat, with orecchiette, but also is easy to drink on pizza or any other easy food, I say. But at the same time, a little surprise, I think, for you, is the typical red wine fitted for the people that dislikes to drink rosé and white and want to drink a red wine also with seafood. This wine, in cause of its acidity, in cause of its lively tannins, it's absolutely perfect also with fish. Obviously, better known on raw fish, for example, but very nice with salmon. Uh, Dimmi Marcello.
Beniamino, if you will serve pair this with the seafood with fish, will you have this slightly chilled, like especially in
Yeah,
Florida, kind of warm?
especially in your country, in your area, in Florida, this is probably the only red wine that is valorized, chilling a little bit, not too much, but chilling a little bit. I'm talking about around 15 to 16 Celsius degree. You can convert in Fahrenheit, but because I don't know it. Um,
No, it makes sense. So, tell us about the farming that you do in your property and why I was so impressed when you mentioned me the reason why you start doing a specific kind of farming, a very, respect to the nature in your vineyards. Tell us a little bit
yeah, yeah,
when you start,
yeah.
why, and what involves in the wine.
Actually, Botromagno grows all the 100 acres that we have in estates organically. We have started going organic in 2007. As you can see, we do not mention, in exception of the Gravina, because the rules of the appellation needs that we write on it made with organic grapes. Because the reason that we are go organic is not connected on the commercial. If you think in 2007, no one was paying attention about organic food or organic wines, and that's the reason why we have decided to go organic. Was absolutely the most, easy reason. In 2004, when my daughter was born, for the first time, I have realized, I have understand that I have to do something to, I cannot say to live a better land, a better earth. I hope so better, but not the worst Mother Earth to my daughter. And for that reason, from that moment, we have moved not only growing organically the fields, the vineyards, but also we have we take 100% of the energy that the winery needs from solar renewable energies, from solar panels and windmills. And at the same time, in 2004, we have started to planting every year half acre of new forest, because we have a small software, very easy, that make it the exact calculation of the CO2 emission that me, my family, my company, the tractors in the fields, the CO2 that we produce, even the travels that we do coming, for example, in your country, in the United States. And the software calculated that planting half acres of new forest every year compensate at 100% the CO2 that we put in the atmosphere during a year.
That's amazing, Benjamin. That's unbelievable. And again, I was so touched when, as I tell people, you had this, this need to start when you had a very important time in your family when your daughter was born. So it really shows about how the family life is connected with what you do. With all due respect, with so many other business, growing vines, making wine is not the same as selling cell phone on sunglasses. It's a different approach. So it really stuck in my mind, and I will always remember. Before we go ahead, I want to just ask, any of you have any questions about the Nero di Troia grape? How is the wine with the Cavatelli? Are you loving the pairing?
Delicious. We love the pairing. Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. So probably maybe some of you are familiar, because I know that I use this wine on another occasion. It's a great wine, as Beniamino said, great value. Just to say, I want to say this quickly now. I can remind you later. I don't want to forget, because I know that some of you are interested. So still now, Emma with the Palladio is allowed to sell wine retail. So don't miss this opportunity. The Rosato will be selling for $19 a bottle, 19. The Nero di Troia will be retailing for $22 a bottle. So both great wines, great price point. So keep it in mind. As you know, at the end of the dinner tomorrow, you can text Emma, you can email her, call, and to place your order. She will have the wine available by Friday or even next week if you need to. So, Emma, you want to say something about the cavatelli? Orecchiette, sorry, not cavatelli.
Orecchiette. Okay, so here if you can see my dish. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so a couple things that are here that I wanted, again, just to continue bringing out the flavors from Puglia. Obviously, as we already discussed, the orecchiette. And then a very common ingredient that you see a lot in a lot of recipes from Puglia is broccoli rabi, cime di rapa, rapini. This is very, very common. They do grow a lot there. So I kind of had to introduce it. I personally love it. I love bitter things. So the bitterness of the broccoli rabi, I think it's very, very nice. Also well compromising with the wine that we're having. Now, because it's bitter, I like to associate it with the sun-dried tomato, because the sun-dried tomato have a little bit of acidity, but mainly has a lot of sweetness to them. And so in order to get them a little bit more soft, I dehydrated them in a little bit of chicken broth before starting the sauce. But I think the combination of the cime di rapa and the sun-dried tomatoes, it kind of they take away each other's bitterness and each other's sweetness and combine together very well.
I agree.
And then you have some olives here, and then of course the cheese that I gave everybody, because this is definitely a dish that calls for cheese. You want that to kind of soak up a little bit the juice that stays there. But now that you put it together, you're also understanding what I was saying about keeping it a little bit more brothy to allow the pasta to finish cooking in there, so that actually it's not a dish that you see, especially as we always talk about this in United States, everything is a little bit too saucy. Not always you have to see the sauce as a texture to feel its flavor. Sometimes it's going to be something more light, like in this case, that allows to finish cooking of the pasta and still allowing the flavors to get into the pasta without a good word for it, I don't know, but just over saucing it. I don't know a good word for it. Help me out here.
Oh, yeah.
Too much sauce.
Overpowering something usually, it's Italian Mediterranean style, very simple, not overdue, not too much,
Right.
It happens sometimes.
In Puglia, especially being in the south of Italy, where the climate, the temperatures are going to be warmer, you find a lot of those lighter dishes. Yes, it's a pasta dish, but it's still in the lighter side. You're working with fresh ingredients or sun-dried ingredients as well. And I think, I really appreciate all of the recipes that at least I am familiar with in Puglia, and I'm very jealous. My parents are going to be there next week, actually, because their flight got canceled again to come to United States.
Well, you have to make sure if they go to Puglia, we're going to hook them up with the Botromagno so they can go there and see, the winery.
Yes, hopefully they can. My dad was, I don't know if I'm going. I'm like, Dad, it's been 60 years since you spent June in Italy. Go enjoy yourself. Okay, well, anybody has questions? Who has the dish?
Emma, did you make the pasta?
Okay, I'll be honest with you. I did not make the pasta. I did not make the pasta this time, but it is fresh made. Again, we're lucky enough with one of our Italian vendors that whenever I asked him if I can't make it myself, I asked him to make fresh pasta, and I asked him the specific of what I want. They make it for me, and they did it for me and arrived today at 11 a.m. freshly packaged and beautiful, and I was extremely happy.
Delicious. Wonderful.
And
Okay.
orecchiette means small ears.
Literally.
Small ears. That's the translation of it. You see that they have that shape. It's like a little small ear.
And by the
It looks
way,
like it's very labor intensive.
it's actually beautiful. By the way, my boss Salvatore Galati is from Puglia. He's a very dear friend of Beniamino, and his parents they visit him, and they got stuck for the with the pandemic, so they were at his home in New Jersey, and they're cooking one day. He did a video of his mom making the orecchiette. I can tell you, it was at the same time was like a sculpture art, and it was my mouth was watering. It was beautiful. It was so easy when you look at her. It looks so easy, simple, but it's not at all. You can see there's many years of practice to do that. With her finger, just the way to how to make the shape of the orecchiette. But it's one of my really love pasta, and when you do a great orecchiette, it's really delicious. So it's amazing. But yes, it's a lot of labor. But as usual, the people they know how to do it, it makes it look so simple, but it's not.
It's
What is
delicious.
the spice in the pasta?
Sorry?
There's a heat in the pasta, a spice, almost like
Yes, a little kick.
Yes, what is that?
Emma?
There's a little bit of chili flakes there. A little bit of chili flakes.
And it works really well with the wine.
I thought so too. And to be honest, I wasn't going to add it. I wasn't going to add the chili flakes, and I actually decided to add the chili flakes when I tasted the wine when it came in today. So that is a last minute tweaking that sometimes I do with dishes when I get to taste the wines that Marcello brings in sometime. I mean, I pretty much have an idea, and of course I always kind of look in the portfolio and I mean, I have Marcello, guys. I mean, I can 100% just give him a recipe, and I know he's going to give me the correct wine for it. So I don't have any problem as far as that goes. But here and there's sometimes that in my, even by reading a portfolio of a wine, I might have a flavor profile that I think it's going to be. And then here and there's a couple of things that if I can tweak last minute, I do. And this was it. And that was that adding a little bit of chili flake. I thought it needed a little bit, just enough. It's not a spicy dish. It's just enough to give it some heat that goes better with the wine.
But does the amount of heat you put in the dish depend on how many glasses of wine you've had?
I tried it, Dave. So I'm sure that would be if I would drink a bottle before serving your dish, but I'm good enough to drink the whole bottle after serving your dish.
I'm gonna take. Hold on, Dave. You mute. I'm gonna say just something on Dave because you just talking. I know that Dave, as you know, you're familiar with Botromagno. Emma, she has the Botromagno Primitivo on the wine list in the restaurants. So she already was familiar with the winery. You guys are familiar. We had the Gravina previous. She had the Botromagno. She has the Botromagno on the list. It's a great winery. But tonight I did choose the Nero di Troia because the pairing I think was perfect, but also because I think maybe for a couple of you that I know that are following me for a long time, but I think it's a new grape for many of you, correct? How many of you is the first time tonight that you're drinking Nero di Troia? Okay. And that's what I love. I always say this many times when we do wine dinner. There is only one country in the world that you can do as many wine dinner that me, Emma, we do together and still bring new grapes. And that's Nero di Troia, Italy for sure. Like tonight with Nero di Troia, you have so many different grapes. So I love to bring you new stuff. So now,
Won't be our last.
direction for the next meal, Emma?
The next one is going to be super easy. So all you have to do is heat it up. If you want to do it in a microwave, just don't overdo it, meaning don't put it for too many minutes. You can heat it up in a pan. You have your spinach there. Definitely heat it up though. I think it needs to be warm or hot. And then that's it. It's easy. So you only have a minute or two, a couple minutes for that one. There's no direction needed on that one.
Okay, so the next dish, as Emma just said, it will not take too long to prepare. In the meantime, that you finish your dish and get ready with the next one, I would like to have the opportunity, Beniamino, to look who's there. Frank is there. Beniamino to have a talk about the next one, the Pierre de la Vigne, to explain the name and also about the bottle and the history behind this wine, since is your flagship wine.
Absolutely. Pierre de la Vigne is, start with the name. Pierre de la Vigne, literally translated again, it means Peter of the vineyards. You have to know, in Italy, there was a very, very long tradition in the past centuries to give as a surname to someone, connected the surname with what he or she do in life. Pierre de la Vigne is a man mentioned also by Dante Alighieri in his Divine Comedy. It was the right-hand man of the Emperor Frederick II of Swabia that have dominated Italy and especially south of Italy around 1200. This guy was in my area in Gravina in Puglia around 1200 during the construction of a castle built by the Emperor Frederick II of Swabia. And the legend says that for the first time, red vineyards was planted in my area by this guy, by Pierre de la Vigne. And the reason, it's strange but true, is that Gravina in the past was mainly vocated for white grapes. We have Greco, we have Fiano, we have Malvasia, planted since 3,000 years ago. All grapes are coming from Greece. And also the grape that is blended mainly in this wine is the Aglianico, that translated from Greek, it means Hellenico, that in fact mean Greece, mean Grecia. Pierre de la Vigne is our first red wine because before us, when the winery was a cooperative, they was doing only the Gravina Bianco, that it is the oldest white appellation in Puglia.
What's the vintage? What's the first vintage of Pierre de la Vigne?
1991.
Thank you.
When we founded the winery in 1990 as a Botromagno, the first red wine produced from Botromagno was Pierre de la Vigne in 1991. It's a blend of 60% Aglianico, 40% Montepulciano. It stays separates the two grapes for 24 months in French oak, 225 liters each, but not new oak that have second and third use at least, because the reason is that we don't want to give any wood taste to the wine, but only because the tenants of the Aglianico that are very aggressive. You have to know that Aglianico is called the southern Italian Barolo because of its very, very aggressive tannins when the wine is young, needs this kind of aging in barrels for 2 years and another 1 year in bottle before the release. This is probably the wine that have the longest potential aging of the wines that we do. You think that recently we have a vertical tasting of this wine, and the 1991, that was the first vintage, is still in absolutely fantastic condition. It's a wine, usually all the customers, we produce, you think, not more than 2,000 six-pack cases per year of this wine, only in the right vintages, not all the vintages. And I have a small Pierre de la Vigne club in Italy. There is a fan club. The people buy every vintage of this wine, and every 6 packs that they buy, they store 2 bottles of the 6th one. They drink the other 4.
It is true. So on this merit, my friend, this is a very allocated item, and we get United States very small production. We only bring a few cases in each state because of the production of the winery. The 2015 vintage you have now. I love this blend. You know, you have. I love the fact because you have Aglianico. That is, you know, one of the most important red grape of south of Italy. The tannin, the structure, the you know, the personality, and also the Montepulciano really helps with these cherry notes, soft. You know, the tannins a little bit more lush, the color. So it's a really well balanced wine. As Beniamino mentioned, it's a wine that you can enjoy now. You know, drinking wine by all means, it's already has a few years on the bottle of age, but it's a wine that's enjoyable right away. But also it's a wine because the Aglianico with the tannin and the acidity, really wine the minerality can age for many years. It is a big bottle. So tell us about this bottle, because I know there is like your
The workout.
there's something behind the bottle.
Yeah, I call it workout bottle. And you think that this 1 kilo and 100 grams of glass is the only, I have to say, concession that we do not in a sustainable way. But there is a reason. In 2011, it was the 20th vintage of this wine. And with my brother Alberto, that I have to say, Alberto followed the winery with me, is my youngest brother. And all the package that you see in our bottle is made by Alberto. Alberto, he was a graphic designer in another life, in his previous life. I was a lawyer.
Alberto.
We've decided to make a celebration bottle. And the way to have a celebration bottle for the 20th vintage is to put in a very big bottle. We have changed also the color of the label because the original label was black with silver Pierre de la Vigne written and not silver label. And we introduced this package on the market just for the 20th vintage. At the beginning, all the customer was complaining because the obviously the bottle is more costly, and they say we don't care about the package, we care what is inside. And we said, okay, it's just a celebration bottle. There are only 5,000 bottles. It's okay. Next year we go back to the old one, and it's okay in 2011. When we bottled 2012, we moved back to the old normal bottle that was the same bottle of the Nero di Troia. And all the customer was complaining, no, 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 please retain that bottle. All the customers loves it. They think that this is more important wine. And for this reason, we have decided, customers are always right when pays. And this is the reason why we have retained this special AV bottle.
Okay, so now thank you so much for the explanation of the wine. Emma, can you tell us about the dish that we pair with this wine?
Yes. Okay, so again here, another traditional Pugliese recipe, brejola. Actually, Beniamino, you can probably say it more correctly. Me, from being from the north, probably don't say this real. But not to be confused with bracciola. Bracciola is shop, okay? Braciole here is un involtino. So as you can see, it kind of, and inside is going to have, it's filled with caciocavallo, which is a cheese of another, obviously, Pugliese. And it's rolled with, there's going to be a little bit of garlic, a little bit of thyme. So you're obviously going to have spices in the inside, and then rolled together. Mind you, everybody, I had to keep the toothpick there because they were freshly made when you guys came to pick them up. So be careful, everybody. There's a toothpick still there. Okay, take off the toothpick, and then they're sautéed in light. Just a light sugo. So sugo is just usually the pomodoro sauce, a very light, fresh tomato on this. So it's not from the concentrated, it's not from the press. This was actually some Campari tomatoes that I got today. Concassé them, crush them, and then lightly sauteed just for a few minutes in the pan. And then that's going to be where they finished their cooking in, and paired with a little bit of spinach.
Very good.
Thank you, Emma.
Emma, it was really good, really
Yeah,
good.
thank you. It's one thing I want to ask all of you guys, tasting the wine, smell the wine. Beniamino, I get this like a licorice nose. It's a very beautiful, intense nose. Tell us a little bit about the bouquet and the aromatic of this wine, because it's a really pretty, nose that we get on this wine.
Absolutely. What I wonder every time that I open a bottle of Pierre de la Vigne is the complexity of the nose and the perfect correspondence between nose and palate. This is very important because there are a lot of wines on the market that maybe are absolutely wonderful at the beginning in the nose, but a little bit flat, on the palate, or exactly the opposite, flat in the nose and very rich on the palate. This is the secret of the Aglianico and also the combination of the Montepulciano. Severino Garofano, that was the most important enologist for the history of quality wines in Puglia, and has invented this red wine, had a very great intuition, because you have to think to this wine 30 years ago. 30 years ago, Botromagno was also a completely different winery. We have just started. We was in the old winery from the cooperative. We have no technology, only cement tanks, no refrigeration for the wines. And the enologist, the role of the enologist is this: how I can manage the tenants of the Aglianico without the help of the technology in this winery. And the intuition was that the most smooth and elegant indigenous grape that we have there, the Montepulciano, with the most noble and complex grape that we have in the area, the Aglianico. This marriage in the first vintage of Pierre de la Vigne was different, because the blend was 50% Aglianico, 30% Montepulciano, and 20% Nero di Troia, because Severino had the intuition 30 years ago about that grape. But we have to discontinue it because it wasn't easy at that time to find good quality Nero di Troia grapes in the area. And we have started having this blend. The combination of these two grapes gives all the you can see the elegance, the smoothness is completely from the Montepulciano, and all the characteristics, the power, the coffee, the leather that you have in the nose, it's coming from the Aglianico. And at the end, to complete the circle, is the presence of the wood. It is there, but is not overpowered. It's not like a Californian red wine. You feel the real taste of the grapes.
Question for you. As you mentioned, you was from 1991 to now you had a birthday. This wine, just to give an idea to our friends here on this dinner, when this wine age, when you taste a bottle of Pierre de la Vigne that's like 10, 15 years old, how the wine change? What fruit component do you find? What other characteristics show up? How it changed from a 2015 from a fresh vintage?
The first thing that changes in the wine is mainly the color. It goes more a little bit with an orange hint, but it still remains very dark in the color. What is changed mainly, the personality of the Aglianico comes out year by year after, and the smoothness of the Montepulciano, it goes on the background. At the end, after 10 years, for example, if you don't know if there is the Montepulciano inside the blend, you do not feel anymore. The complexity of the Aglianico completely absorbed the characteristic of the, I want to say, weakest grape of the blend.
So what is the age of the wine that we're drinking tonight? To give us an example, what year is this one?
2015.
2015. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's beautiful.
So,
Thank you.
Beniamino, so thank you so much. You explained about the wine age, how it changed. So will you say that this wine will you, because you mentioned before the Nero di Troia in the beginning was a part of the blend. There was not enough good quality Nero di Troia at the time. Are you and your brother Beto, do you think that you're gonna change the blend? You're gonna adjust, or this now you find the perfect balance 60-40 you're going to keep in this way?
Absolutely. You have to know. I probably in Puglia in this moment the only oldest red wine that are on the market are probably is the Patriglione from Taurino, and probably is the Duca d'Aragona in Graticciaia from Vallone and from Candido. Pier delle Vigne now is considered a classic. It's like the Tignanello from or Sassicaia from Tuscany. The level of the consideration of this wine from Puglia of Pier delle Vigne is at that level. We cannot change anything. It's like when Coca-Cola tried to change the formula of the Coca-Cola, Marcello. Probably all the fan of Pier delle Vigne wanna hit me if I change anything about it.
I imagine that was more teasing for you. So everyone, tell us what you think about the pairing, what you think about the wine. Few comments.
This was the most fun wine dinner we've ever done. It was great. It was great having the vintner here. It was awesome. Food was great. Everything was awesome.
Thank you.
But better than that, every wine just matched each course
Yes.
so well.
But you know what, guys? I don't want to
Hello,
say
and Emma hit it out of the ballpark again. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
Yes, she did.
You know what?
I
I
have
also
to interrupt everybody, but I also wanted to, one thing that I forgot to say about this dish, as is written in your menu, you know that what meat we're talking about. So this is veal. But commonly this would be with horse meat. Obviously, horse meat. Obviously, it's not something that I could find, and even if I could find it here, probably for you guys. I mean, believe it or not, it is probably one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite meats, and I mean, I grew up with horses. I love horses, so it's one of those things that it's a fine line. I love horses. I grew up with them, but yes, I did eat much of it, and it's my favorite meat. But I figured to wait until you guys are all dinner and finished with it.
there was a
You did introduce us to goat.
no,
I get what you guys. Oh, right, yeah. But again, I didn't drive miles and miles and miles to make sure I could get. I just got
Thank God.
with veal, since you can change it with veal. Sometimes it's both meat together, but I mean, personally, for those that are adventurous and would try horse meat, if you ever are in Italy, it is really, really good. I hope nobody's gonna look at me in a bad eye after I say this, but it's probably my favorite meat. I must admit it.
What's the difference between beef?
Huh?
What's the difference between beef? It's
I think it's leaner, but definitely, I don't know, the flavor, it's just really, really good, but it's lean and it's tasty. Probably a high.
now I want to try it.
With what, a lot has to do with what the animals eat. Let's not forget that. And I think, that makes a big, but
there was
not eating horse. We're not eating horse. We're all good.
no, we're good.
I would like to try it sometime.
I really wanna thank you, all of you, and it really means a lot for me when all of you are preparing the food, the wines, because I know all of you, and this is not your first rodeo. You guys have been so many wine dinners. You go out, you eat out, and hear comment, from all of you, the wines and the food, the pairing, what I said, it really means a lot because, as you know, with Emma, you know, in the beginning when we started those virtual wine dinner, kind of, you know, Emma the pioneer on these dinners in the area here. It was not easy, you know, but she nailed those down, and you know, we able still with the difference, you know, with the by distance to be able to make great pairings. That means a lot for us. And the thing that I love with Emma that we are all doing these very, you know, great value wines. So tonight, this wine, the last wine you heard from Beniamino, 1991 icon wine, small production, everything. This wine retails through Emma at Palladio for $36 a bottle. 36. So this just to give you an idea. You go in a restaurant in our area, neighborhood, you can buy a bottle of $36 of red wine, you know, a good, a nice red wine. You know, they're more expensive. So again, I just want to make sure you take as you support, you know, the restaurants with those dinners. Those are great advantage, great things to take advantage of those times to retail to restaurants. So the Rosé, $19, the Nero di Troia, the first red at $22, and the Pierre de la Vigne is $36 a bottle retail through Emma. So if you want any of those wines, please let Emma know so she can order it from me for Friday or for next week. But I really appreciate you guys. Do any of you have any questions? I mean, thank you, Emma. You did fantastic. Thank you so much, Beniamino, to be up so late, 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh my God!
I'm the sleepless winemaker.
Buonanotte, vai a letto, buonanotte.
The Italians, the way that we work, you're probably gonna take like a week vacation now because you have
Best wine dinner ever.
Marcello, you have forgot to say that in my previous life, before that I was a winemaker, before that I was a lawyer, I was a DJ. I'm absolutely fitted to wake up. You know, I'm a disco DJ. I was a disco DJ.
Okay, stay on, guys.
So that means we're gonna end with a DJ set of yours, and we're all gonna finish.
Exactly. Now I'm at my home. I turn up and I'm going to disco.
Before Beniamino leaves, I want to everybody have a glass of wine. I want to cheer to Beniamino and Emma. Thank you so much, Beniamino. Thank you so much, Emma.
Thank you, all of you. Thank you, and thank you especially to Emma. Emma, thanks for making a truly real Pugliese dinner. I didn't expect it. Bracciola in orecchiette.
Grazie. That's awesome.
Grazie a te.
Cheers, all of you.